Has anyone worn a tracksuit to the Oscars? It's not a question Nawaz Carrie Allen, one-third of the fast-rising Irish-language hip-hop group Kneecap, who is better known by his stage name Mowgli Bap, ever thought he'd be asking. But with Kneecap, the anarchic semi-fictitious biopic in which he plays his perma-tracksuit self, gaining momentum ahead of its US release on August 2 and poised to become Ireland's international feature submission for the 2025 Academy Awards, whether he should don his trademark attire to the ceremony isn't too unreasonable a consideration. "We could do black tracksuits with white ties," suggests bandmate JJ O'Docharte, aka DJ Provai, who is also wondering about the Irish tricolored balaclava he's rarely seen without, and has on for much of the film. "But we'd try to bring the RUC Jeep to the Oscars with us." RUC stands for Royal Ulster Constabulary, Northern Ireland's controversial former state police force that patrolled Belfast throughout the Troubles until 2001 and was accused of sectarianism and brutality, mostly toward the Catholic and Irish nationalist communities Kneecap grew up in, and rap about. The Jeep in question is currently parked outside central Galway's Galmont Hotel, where the band, named after the IRA practice of shooting drug dealers in the knees, are speaking to Variety over a somewhat cliched pint of Guinness. The van is both part-time tour bus and motorized political statement. 2 Palestinian flags are fixed to the front. Kneecap say they've long been supporters of the Palestinian cause and are known to take part in protests, call for a Free Palestine on stage and post on social media about the war in Gaza. It's also adorned with several stickers declaring "England get out of Ireland," lovingly applied earlier in the day by Provai, plus foreboding steel grills over the windscreen and front lights and an Irish flag hanging from the roof, on which is also fitted a cage containing a fake police video camera. For a sleepy Tuesday morning on the west coast of Ireland, it makes for an eye-catching sight. How it might go down anywhere near Hollywood Boulevard is another matter entirely. An hour or so prior to the interview, both Bap and Provai had been standing on top of the Jeep in front of Galway's otherwise unassuming Town Hall Theatre, holding aloft flares billowing out red smoke for the benefit of a small huddle of photographers, and a couple of die-hard fans who got wind of the event. The two would usually be accompanied by fellow Kneecapper Mo Chara, Liam O'Hanade, but after several months of non-stop touring around Europe, including a couple of packed, career-defining sets at Glastonbury just a week after launching debut LP Fine Art, he's fallen sick and can't make it. They're not in Galway as musicians, however, but as movie stars. Kneecap, in which the trio all play themselves in debut acting roles, alongside a slightly more rehearsed movie star, Michael Fassbender, and deliver a chaotic ride through working-class Belfast filled with sex, drugs, swearing, politically charged lyrics, more drugs and fierce Irish nationalism, already broke ground earlier this year when it became the first Irish-language film to screen at Sundance. In the freezing climes of Utah, it quickly became a word-of-mouth sensation, won an audience award and was picked up by Sony Pictures Classics, and has since been packing out cinemas at various international festivals, including Tribeca and Karlovy Vary. But the film now has its most important pit stop so far, its Irish premiere at the Galway Film Fled. Audiences around the world may have already been drawn to the uniquely in-your-face energy of a film many have likened to an Irish version of Trainspotting. Irvine Welsh, who wrote the novel the 1996 classic is based on, even described Kneecap on X as absolutely fucking phenomenal, certainly a million miles from the country's standard rural, bigorra-filled cinematic stereotypes. But for writer-director Rich Pepiat, given its subject's deep resonance on home soil, the first public screening of Kneecap to a local audience was always the date that had been circled in red on the calendar. As the filmmaker explains ahead of the Galway premiere, over water and, later, pints of Guinness, how Kneecap came to be is an origin story almost as wild, but not quite, as the band itself. A former British tabloid journalist turned documentary maker, Pepiat had moved to Belfast with his young family in 2019, to be near his wife's parents but, primarily, to escape London's insane property market. Within a couple of weeks of arriving, he found himself at a gig of a hip-hop group he'd never heard of and, while he didn't understand what the fuck they were saying on stage, he was inspired and intrigued by the 1,000 fans who clearly did. Kneecap were just starting to become this quiet phenomenon that was coming out of West Belfast and the Irish-speaking community, says producer Trevor Burney, an Emmy-nominated documentary maker who has flitted successfully between politics, No Stone Unturned, Gaza, and music, Cyndi Lauper, Let the Canary Sing, The Go-Go's. It was Burney who, after Pepiat had failed to get a response from Kneecap via email for several months, finally gave him a number, through a girl in his office who had been in a relationship with someone in the band. They went for a drink and another drink and another, and, in what may end up being written in the annals of Irish filmmaking history, Pepiat and the Kneecap trio ended up on a 12-hour all-nighter that didn't finish until 7 a.m. the following morning.